Hello, darlings. I am Lady Arbella Clinton, greeting you from 17th-century Lincolnshire, England. I am here to tell you a fascinating story. A story of how a group of men from Boston, England, defied the king and established the Massachusetts Bay Company.
The story began long ago in Tudor England during the reign of Henry VIII. As it happened, a young courtesan named Elizabeth Blount was seduced by Henry VIII and ended up giving birth to the king's bastard son, Henry FitzRoy. Henry cared for Bessie and married her off to a wealthy Lincolnshire noble who soon died. Soon after, Bessie fell in love with a ward of the king named Edward Clinton, and the two were married. Through the patronage of the king, Edward and Bessie were granted extensive landholdings in Lincolnshire that included Tattershall Castle, and most importantly, the Gilbertine Priory at Sempringham that had been disbanded during the dissolution of the monasteries. When Bessie died, Edward Clinton inherited Bessie's estate and became the wealthiest landowner in Lincolnshire. Later, he served Elizabeth I as Admiral of the Fleet and was named Earl of Lincoln. Forward to Boston, Lincolnshire, in the year 1618, Theophilus Clinton became the 4th Earl of Lincoln. Have I failed to mention that Theophilus is my brother? Well, as it happened, he inherited enormous debt from our grandfather, so our mother hired Thomas Dudley to resolve this debt and steward our estates. In the year 1626, King Charles III imposed a forced loan on England, and my brother organized resistance to the forced loan and distributed a pamphlet saying,
"To all English freeholders from a well-wisher of theirs, calling on honest men and wise men to openly resist the loan because of the threat it offered to the liberties of the subjects and the future of parliaments. The Crown intends to make ourselves the instrument of our own slavery, by robbing the freemen of England of their liberties. All those who cared for the good of the Commonwealth should oppose."
Well, the king would have none of it, and threw my brother into the Tower of London, and many of Boston's borough council were arraigned, tried, and confined to either the Fleet Prison or Newgate in London. During the confinement of my brother, Thomas Dudley organized resistance in the Boston area with the support of my dear husband, Isaac Johnson, and my brother's father-in-law, William Fiennes, Lord Say, who, like my brother, spoke out against the forced loan by supporting the Petition of Right in House of Lords by saying, "I know of no law besides Parliament that should persuade men to give away their goods." Later in 1627, when men from Boston gathered to witness the signing of my husband's will, John Humphrey was in town for the birth of his son and was asked to witness the signing of the will. Humphrey was married to Elizabeth Pelham, whose family were from Boston, and he had been the treasurer of the Dorchester Company, which had recently gone bankrupt. This failed venture sought to establish a fishing outpost in New England to take advantage of the lucrative trade in North Atlantic codfish. As a member of the Inns of Court, John Humphrey associated Herbert Pelham and my husband, Isaac Johnson, and Richard Bellingham, who represented the borough of Boston in Parliament. Oh my goodness! I must backtrack to relate the story of my husband's dear friend and university roommate, William Blackstone, who attended our marriage in 1623. As it happened, William was adventurous and met the husband of my sister Frances, who had married John Gorges. John's father was the notorious Ferdinando Gorges, the so-called father of English colonization in North America. As a result, William from nearby Horncastle joined the Gorges expedition to New England later that year, and then became the first Englishman to settle on the Shawmut Peninsula in Massachusetts, that later was renamed after our beloved Boston. But alas, I have digressed. So where were we? Oh yes, the signing of my husband's will. So there we were, disenfranchised by the king and seeking a way out. We gathered at my childhood home at Sempringham Manor and organized to build from the failed Dorchester Company and established the New England Company that then evolved into the Massachusetts Bay Company and set sail in 1630 for Massachusetts. Crossing the North Atlantic was perilous, and we were tossed about on the high seas.
Hold fast! She'll break apart in this gale!
Steady yourselves. The storm is near done. Look there. The clouds are opening.
Thomas Dudley recorded in his now famous letter to my brother's wife, Lady Bridget, Countess of Lincoln, the following: We came to such resolution that in April 1630 we set sail from Old England with 4 good ships, the Arabella, Jewel, Ambrose, and Talbot. The Arabella was the flagship of the fleet and was named after me by my dear husband, who financed much of the crossing. Dudley continues, "Our 4 ships, which set out in April, arrived here in June and July, where we found the colony in a sad and unexpected condition, above 80 of them being dead by winter. Alas, I happened to be one of them and am buried in Salem. My dear husband lived to be reunited with his friend William Blackstone. Our group was in need of fresh water, and William Blackstone invited the company to settle on Shawmut Peninsula. As Thomas Dudley related to Lady Bridget, it was ordered that Tri-Mountain shall be called Boston, as we intended to have done the place we first resolved on. My dear husband lived to see that day, but as Dudley continues, about the beginning of September, died Mr. Johnson, another of the 5 undertakers, the Lady Arabella, his wife, being dead a month before. This gentleman was a prime man amongst us, having the best estate of any, zealous for religion, and greatest furtherer of this plantation. He made a most godly end, dying willingly, professing his life better spent in promoting this plantatarchon than it would have been any other way. He left to us a loss greater than the most conceived. Well, dearest friends, so ends the story of Isaac Johnson and his dear wife, me, Lady Arbella Clinton Johnson, sister of the 4th Earl of Lincoln, dead in midlife. But alas, it is now 400 years hence, and soon the town of our planting, Boston, Massachusetts, will celebrate its 400th anniversary. So, to all my dear friends in Boston, Lincolnshire, I pray you will commemorate this event. As I have come to understand, the Massachusetts Bay Colony expanded to become a separate nation that 250 years ago won its freedom from old King George. What a feat that was! Yet few, if any, in this new nation even know that our beloved Boston exists, and what is worse, have no idea of the role we played in its founding. And my dear friends, few if any in our beloved town of Boston, Lincolnshire, have any idea of what those of us in the 17th century accomplished. I want to ensure that you understand that men and women from our Boston gave birth to another Boston across the Atlantic in a new nation that became America. In fact, all of us who call Lincolnshire home must know that it was Lincolnshire's opposition to the tyranny of the Stuarts, most particular to Charles I, gave rise to the Glorious Revolution and the Declaration of Right in 1689, followed by our English Bill of Rights. How many of you fully comprehend the role of the men and women of Boston and our beloved Lincolnshire played in making this happen? As I understand it, you celebrate those separatist pilgrims who sailed on the Mayflower in 1620 and know little of nothing of those from Boston itself. Shame on us. What we need is a little effort to educate ourselves, and the 7th great-grandson of our dear vicar, Reverend John Cotton, has spent the last 25 years writing a book titled A Tale of Two Bostons to do just that. Educate us, and he is making this book free to you, the Borough Council, in hopes that knowledge will trickle down to all citizens of St. Botolph's town. So I pray that each of you take this plea to heart and educate yourself and commit to getting the story straight. By doing so, you will honor not only Isaac and I, but you will do honor to yourselves and your children's children. May God be with you all, and I thank you for your time and attention.